So it's New Year's Eve. We're here at the Watford Coliseum. The calm before the storm. Bags is frantically programming lights, and I just thought I'd take you round the sort of gear that, not your average pub band, the sort of band that would hopefully do these sort of functions, slightly bigger gigs. Yes, we do cart a lot of stuff around with us. I'm not going to talk about PA or anything like that too much, but just so you can see the stuff the guys are using and hopefully how we're using it. Okay, so here we are in keyboard world with John, our keyboard player. John, can you just take us through your rig and sort of explain what you're using and why you're using it?
Yeah, I'm using a Nord Stage EX. It's the main piano, but does a few extra other sounds as well. I'm using an original Motif 6 because I know where the sounds are, and because this one does favourites list, so I can have all my favourite patches in a very easy to find way.
Hence the tape on top.
Yeah, hence the tape on top. Yeah, it gives you a broad idea of which category you're going to be in. And
so these two run in stereo or in mono?
They both run in stereo through that radial DI box.
Okay.
Because that merges both the stereo channels down to a stereo out.
So you're sending stereo to the desk, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what else have we got down here?
There's also a voice box, just for a toy, for a vocoder.
Okay, so is that the Electro-Harmonix?
Yep.
And then a plethora of pedals.
I've just got pedals as a modulation pedal for the Motif. There's a sustain pedal for the Motif. There's a sustain pedal for the Nord, and there's a rotary cabinet on the Nord, so I can control that. So I can have sustain and the rotary cabinet at the same time.
So like a Leslie simulation on the pedals. Okay. Yeah. And that's all being held up by one of these amazing Ultimate support standy thing.
An AX90 imputer.
Wow. So, no monitors?
No monitors, no.
So how do you hear yourself?
I have a small rack down here.
Okay, let's have a look at that.
It's only two devices. Look, this is my in-ears.
Right.
And this is the wireless for saxophone.
Okay, because of course you double on sax a lot of the time.
Yeah. So the best way to hear myself playing keyboards, because they don't make any noise whatsoever if they're not plugged in, is to use the in-ears, because then there's no back line, there's no on-stage sound, and I can just hear everything in my ears exactly as I need it.
Excellent stuff, thank you.
You want to know about the rig?
Yeah, let's talk us through the rig, Steve.
What I've got, the brain behind it all really is basically the JMP1,
right,
which is obviously a valve preamp, dates back to the 80s but does the job, sounds good to me. I'm running that in stereo with an 11 rack.
Cool, the avid 11 rack.
Yeah, so basically that means I've got more versatility with the sounds. I can have a slightly different sound between the two halves of the cab.
So you've got your cab running in stereo?
Yes, stereo cab, so obviously I've got the 11 one side, I've got the JMP the other.
Okay.
Running through this, well, it's basically a valve state, Marshall. Yep. I don't think these are very sort of available anymore, but it does the job for me.
Yeah.
I've got obviously because this has got its own built-in effects, the 11, I've also got the Marshall running through the TC G major there, which obviously gives me quite a lot of versatile sounds. The kind of stuff we do, I need quite an array of sounds, which is all operated via a MIDI board over there.
So would you say that most of the time you run the sort of distortion and dirty sounds through the Marshall and the clean stuff through the 11?
Yes, probably that kind of an idea. The clean stuff through the 11 has got a real glassy sound. The Marshall tends to be great for the overdrive and crunch. This has got a really nice top end, glistening glassy sound, which I like. Through the cab, it has a bit more of obviously a real sound. Through the PA, I get a lot of top end, and it really cuts through quite nicely.
So you don't mic the cabinet?
No, the cab's DI'd.
Right. So you're coming straight out of
the rig is DI'd.
Excellent.
The cab's running like that. And then over there is the board.
Cool.
So obviously all I've got here, I've got about half a dozen sounds there. I've got about 4 clean sounds. I've got about 5 or 6 distortion sounds. Some of these are crunchy sounds, but mostly this is just for if you're doing something that you need a crunch sound, you can flick of a switch. Because it's all MIDI, I can go from a real distorted, overdriven sound to a dirty sound, a medium kind of crunch sound, and then a glassy, clean chorus sound without loads of pedals.
And still a real wah-wah. You haven't gone for the wah-wah from the 11 or anything like that.
There's a Jim Dunlop down there.
So what's the offending articles back here? What axes are you using?
We've got a Gibson Les Paul, which is a 92, and we've got a JS 1000. That's my Satriani one.
Okay. Are they both tuned the same, or?
No, the Satriani one's tuned to D, drop D, which obviously is some of the songs we do. I need that real crunchy bottom end sound that we do, stuff like Beat It, which is detuned. Also need the whammy bar for the Van Halen stuff we do. So it tends to work quite nice in contrast. There's a bit of changeover during the set, but I do tend to find it works well as long as the lead singer calls the right songs and gives me advance, which never happens usually. But yeah. Other items, I've got the Sennheiser radio system at the top there, which
allowing you to wander
allows
around?
me to wander around and sound check, which is quite handy. Other points, basically that's it really. I've got a, obviously as I said, the stereo cab there, which I made stereo myself. It used to be I prefer the bottom cab. It gives it more movement, more sound, bigger
Do you know
sound.
what the speakers, the drivers that Sharon is?
I think they're 75s, G75s, Celestials. But yeah.
Great stuff, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so this is my end of things. I get the view off in the riser. Playing Tama Star Classic Birch Babinga drums in shocking pink sparkle. Don't really know why, but that's the colour they got me. Yeah. It's bit OTT for most pub gigs, but hey, we're playing in a big room tonight, so I'm using 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, all mic'd up with some Tronics DM1Ts, the Tom mics. The snare is a sort of 60s replica Slingerland with a DM1S mic on it. Many and various cymbals. I don't really have a kind of a preference. If it sounds good, I hit it. So there's some Sabians, Pasty Ride, some Zildjian hi-hats.
Right, what's your plan of action this evening?
I have no idea.
Well, I'm going down.
So that basically, all the mics, so the two SEs on the overheads, the kick drum mics, which I'll show you in a minute, the hi-hat mic, all run over here to my monitoring system. Now again, this looks a bit overkill at most pub gigs, but I run the first 8 channels on my drums, so kick, snare, toms, overheads, and then because the number of mic pre's that the O3D has got, I run a separate batch of A to Ds in a rack underneath. So I've then got each of my individual sends to the front of house PA, and then I can set everything coming back through my ears. Now I've got a radio pack, but obviously I can't go very far from behind the drum, so it's hardwired in to my in-ears.
What would be nice is if...
Also it means I can hear what I'm doing when I'm singing as well, which is a bonus. Enough sticks to sink a battleship. The official 5th member of the talent, or Freddie as he's normally known. Recently I picked up, after sort of looking at a rhythm article, the new front kick drum head. This is called a drum port, and it looks like something that fell off a Formula 1 car, I think. But it's all sort of carbon fibre finished and kind of lovely. And I'm actually using 2 mics tonight. I've got a traditional AKG D112 on the inside, sort of picking up the click sort of sound with the front head, and then the Sontronics DM1B, this beast, picking up all the bottom end. That's a condenser mic, end fire, large diaphragm, so hopefully that's giving us all the bottom end of the sound. Other than that, that's pretty much what I have to contend with. This is the weapon of choice, and that's what we do. I got my first real 6-string, bought it at the 5 and dime, played it till my fingers bled. Was the summer of '69.